This is everybody up to stand and you know that. Four supposed to walk.
This is the day that God has given you. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Don't you just love that little cha-cha beat that we have in Closer Walk? I love it. It just makes me want to get up and dance. I'd like to welcome the online people. I'd like to welcome our congregation and tell you that God loves you, and so do we. And welcome the people close to you and tell them you're glad that they are here.
Good morning. I'm glad you're here. Morning. Why you're here? Come on. Morning.
Well, this is just wonderful. A lovely sunny day out here in White Rock. And a lot of people have stayed home, I think, and are working out in their garden, and some of them are here today. And we have a lot of people who watch us online, and being online, if they are out gardening today when it's raining, they can watch us online later, so that's really great. So we just like to welcome everybody here and that came out, and so it's wonderful. I'd also like to thank our supporters that help us with this ministry. We have 4 vets, I call them. That's my ministers in training. One of them is Derrick Whiteskycloud, who's on the rostrum with me. Lynn White, who had to go out and do a big celebration last night, so she isn't able to get here. And we have Maureen Lum, of course, who is our coordinator for volunteers. And if you need anything, talk to Maureen. Just put your hand up, Maureen, so everybody knows who you are. And then we have one up in Badenby, British Columbia, who comes in and helps us when she can get down here. But she definitely is studying with us and is going to be taking the church out into the hinterland. So we're really fortunate for that. And we also have Ministry of Music. We have Celia Cullen, who's playing today, and Jean Thomas, who is here as well. And we're so fortunate to have nice music to help lift our spirits. So we're very thankful, and for all the volunteers that come out and help us set up every week. And we're thankful for that. We'd like to send out a little healing to Heather, Reverend Heather Quinney, who was supposed to be on the rostrum today doing the talk. And Heather has had a lot of challenges over the last few months, and it was going to be her first time back. Got up yesterday morning and couldn't stand up. And so they were taking her by ambulance. The ambulance was on its way. Well, she's phoning me to give her regrets that she can't be here with us this morning. She's here in spirit, and of course we're with her, sending healing for that. And we thank Derrick Whiteskycloud, who is going to do the step-in stuff. He's going to step in for Heather and give us a very good talk this morning. And of course, we'd like to tell you that we would like you to raise your voices once more and go to number 27, Amazing Grace. And Amazing Grace was the song that was a favorite of Heather's husband. And it was so strange that it happened to be picked for today. And it was picked months ago. So we'll just send that out to Heather and to her husband. Thank you. Amazing Grace, number 27. We ask that you gather close with your energy and spirit to Derrick as he gives us his address. We also would like to thank all the people here that have been putting healing prayers up for my husband as well. And he's on the road to recovery, and he's working on the camera there. So awesome, he can have the camera no matter how ill he is, he gets out of here. So thanks, hon, for being here. God bless.
Derrick?
Well, Barb says she's giving me my address, so it's 8266 King. No, just kidding. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
It's warm out, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about time.
Yes.
We've been going through the cold and the hot and the cold and the hot, and we actually had lightning the other night, a couple of days ago. We had thunder. You guys actually had your house shake on you while you had the thunder? Wow. Woke me up. Light power went out. You know, when you think about this kind of things, that people wonder what's going to happen to them. We always, in fact, we were discussing this earlier, and last night I was discussing this. You know, a lot of people put that fear out there. They're so worried so much about catastrophes in this world. And we always put ourselves in that thinking of what's going to happen next to us. And we wonder why we feel this way. How come we always look for the worst in life? Do you remember why? Sometimes people always look for the worst. Why? Because they either learn this from media, they learn it from a newspaper, they learn it from a television, learn it from a radio by listening or reading something. You know, and even from a good friend, Ted Coons, who would say, you know, he had friends, he had young students, he even go through a bunch of newspapers to compare the worst and the best in columns. And in the newspaper they found about 85-90% were all the worst things, and about 10-50% were all the good things. Is that why we have to follow that belief system? I don't think so. We don't have to. Because that's what happens. We end up following a certain belief system, we think we have to stay there and get caught in it. It's like a net. And then we're like those fish. You know, we have to either follow the stream with the rest, or else we get lost. Because we have that fear put in front of us, we think we get lost. I always use a little phrase that I always tell people, like, you know, I would say, you know, we're not just people, we call ourselves sheeple, because either you become a follower, or you become your independent leader. And no one has to follow you for what you do. You just do what you feels right for you. And that's why I always tell people, you filter what feels right for you. So don't try and look for the catastrophes in life and think that's the end of the world, because I was taught that when I was a kid growing up. I was worried about the worst things. Not by my parents, but in school. We always worry about the worst thing. You know, the parents would say, or the teachers would say to the kids, before they even reach the grade 9 or 10, they'll say to you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You got to be prepared for that big job out there. What are you talking about? I'm still a kid. You know, you were talking about the 12-year-old schools. Be prepared for the big change. Be prepared for the worst things in life. You be prepared for responsibilities. Well, guess what? We're responsible. And we still are trying to impress our parents to this day, still trying to be responsible. Why do we have to do that all so often? Why are we trying to impress others? We don't have to. But the important part is actually we have to do once in a while is impress ourselves, because it's our own personal needs. We have to really trust what's inside of here and make the decision of what we want to do in life. And so, you know, everyone has a great decision of their own. We always have a career we always hold one to follow. There's people who want to be singers, they want to be actors, they want to be just regular people in 9-to-5 jobs. Some people want to be a lawyer because a family friend or loved one wants to follow the same kind of trade. My father wanted me to follow his trade. I learned my dad's career, my dad's trade. I learned about becoming an auto body man, a house painter, and a dairy farmer. And I was raised those 3 types of educations under my father's guise, which is great. I can use that in my career because we can use some of that part of our life. But how can a person use a dairy farming business if you actually leave home? You think about it. I know how to milk a cow. Can you guys?
No.
Yeah? How many of you actually can milk a cow? Raise your hand. Okay, how many don't know how to milk a cow? Raise your hand. Once you get your hands around it, it's pretty simple.
Show me one day.
But milking a cow, some people think, oh, well, it's got to be really easy. There's a technique to it. When you get to know the farming industry, you get to know being on the farm, it's a little more laid back. There's no pressure as a farmer. They don't worry about what's going to happen the next day. Because these guys don't put a clock out there and say, oh, well, got to go out there and milk the cows. They don't have clocks. They're up at 4 in the morning to milk that cow at 5. They're out there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon milking that cow at 5. Twice a day. And they're out there because they choose that marriage to the farm before their wife. Because that's their source of income. Lifestyle is totally different compared to having to work in the city, and you got to be so fast and make things work so quickly for you to keep up with the Jones next door. The farmer doesn't do that. He's on his tractor, and the only thing he wants to get is something bigger. A bigger tractor. Not because he couldn't keep up with the Joneses, because he has bigger crops, or he has to have more land. I feel sad for the farmer now today because there's a bigger responsibility for them now, because now the government has changed all that. You have to have a license to be a farmer. You have to have employees working for you to be a farmer. Whatever happened to that laid-back life? Because society wants them to be like the rest of the people in the city, to play the catch-up. Everybody's in a hurry. Let's go do this, let's go do this, let's go do this. Technology is catching up to us. And some of us like to say, how many of you actually have a computer? How many of you don't have a computer? How many of you have a computer?
I don't have one.
Don't have one. 2 don't have a computer? Okay, 2 does not have a computer. 1 does not have a computer. Bob, how do you think about this? Do you know only 5% of the people in the world only have computers? 5%, not 95%. 5% of people in this world only have computers. The 95% still don't even have computers yet. They don't know how to use them. They're challenged by that. And why do they feel challenged? Because they feel if they touch a button, it blows something up. True. Because people put that paranoia in front of them. They're so worried about touch. That's it. You blow it. Next door neighbor's not going to like you anymore. Which is not right. It's not true. A computer works with you as much as you want to work with it. Don't feel intimidated by it. If you want to become a farmer, don't be intimidated. Milk that cow. If you don't know how, we'll show you how. It may be hard at the beginning, but once you get a hold of it and get out and understand how it works, becoming a farmer, that's easy. Then you wish you didn't go back to the city. That happens at times. When I was a kid growing up, 19 years old, left home, I didn't want to go, I didn't want to leave, I didn't want to stay in the farm, I wanted to leave. I wanted to go out there working like everybody else. Because I didn't know what it was like to be in a big city. Sometimes I regret the idea of being back in the city. I want to go back to the farm. Because now I understand what Paul's talking about, that it's so comfortable not having to work so hard for someone else, that you're doing it for yourself. So basically in this world, sometimes we have to think about ourselves once in a while and learn that we can do things for ourselves and have to worry about the next door neighbor, or worry about the job that we have to satisfy a boss, that we once in a while doesn't hurt to have our own boss, which is here. Make up your own decision. Make up your own mind. We always want to have a career of our own. Okay? These little lovely ladies here know how to use instruments. They sing. They're beautiful voices, by the way. I'm just totally stoked. Yeah. I have met a lady, I mentioned before last time I was here, 98 years old, and she actually taught singing, and she's also a musician. And she was from Italy. And she wanted to teach me how to sing. She insisted, when she heard my voice, she wanted to hear my voice, so I sang when I wanted to sing. And she said, I want to train you. I said, I don't know. Because if I get someone to train me how to sing, then it's not me no more. Because I'm doing something that they want me to do for them, how they understand it. And sometimes I have to do things on my own, for myself. But sometimes there are actually people out there that want to do things to be satisfied by others, because I've had an artist. Okay, I'm also an artist as well. I do acrylic art on canvas. I've had an artist here in White Rock, a guy very professional, very well known, say to me, I want to take you under my guys and train you how to become an artist, to better your art. And I said, no. Why? Because it's not me now. It's somebody else's way, how they want me to see me done. They want to mold me their way. So sometimes you have to create your own mold instead of have someone mold you. It doesn't hurt once in a while to be trained if there's certain things, techniques you got to learn. But create your own. Create your own technique of life. Instead of someone telling you what you have to do. Because God always says, what is your greatest joy in life? What is your greatest joy? Name one in yourself, for yourself, what is your greatest joy? The first thing in mind is your greatest joy. What do you think?
Music.
Music.
Art.
Art. What is your greatest joy?
I have to say the same.
Okay.
Feeds my soul.
The man behind the man behind you? What's your greatest joy?
Triathlon.
Triathlon? What about yours? Family. Everyone has different greatest joy. In the back, what's your greatest joy?
Children. I'd have to say nature.
Nature? Okay. The first thing in mind is the greatest joy. See, you're basically thinking of the beautiful things. But what's the worst thing in life that you just totally despise the most? What's the worst thing you despise the most?
I think the way technology is going.
Too fast?
No, bringing out the worst in people with the computers and what the young people can learn from the computers. There's so much negative stuff.
If we guide them correctly, they'll listen. If we don't know how to guide them, then they'll misuse it. Because there are techniques in the computer that you can put blocks up there to keep them from going into it. The worst part. Because I know some computers are almost like what you call the instant teachers. Instead of having a physical teacher, you have an instrumental teacher that's placed in that computer. But I still feel it in my heart, you still have to have a physical human teacher by your side to teach you, because it's not the same. It is not. It's not. We can't be electronically raised. That doesn't work. Because we would lose our human characteristics. We would. You think about it. When I was a kid in school, I remember this. They used to say that they used to talk about actually having robots in our home. When Walter Cronkite, remember Walter Cronkite? Okay? Walter Cronkite said on TV that by the time of year 2000, we're going to have robotics. Robotics feeding us. Servicing our home. Okay? Everything's going to be electronically controlled. And you'll have servants, electronic servants, service you your food, cook your food for you, drive your car for you, fly you anywhere you want to go. You see that happening yet? No. Now, all those hopes and wishes that you wish it did happen, do you want it to happen that way? No, because what happens is we become lazy. We wouldn't want to do anything anymore. If that takes over in our life, we have nothing to do for ourselves. Because you say, well, you know what? Here's my canvas. Here's my brush. Here, you do it. I'll just sign the bottom that it was me. They won't know. It's a robot that did it. There's no identity in the robot. Makes sense, doesn't it? So sometimes we've got to do things for ourselves and be in control of that. The interesting part is that when we have control of what we want for ourselves. Was that a creaky chair?
Yeah. Too much.
The chairs do get creaky. You know, I'll tell you something. A couple times when I was on the platform, one time we had a meditation took place, and I'm sitting here, over here. I think Barb is on to my right, and this chair here was empty. This is when Lynn White was doing the rostering. The chair was sitting there by itself, creaking like crazy. And there's nobody there.
Are you sure?
Physically. Right? I'm looking over and going, okay, there's somebody here. Gee, I wonder who that would be. And that's what happens. Spirit makes themselves be known if they want to creak that chair. If they want to wake us up. So it's a lot of fun doing. Now, other things I do as well, besides being minister in training, I'm looking forward to even having myself graduate in the next 3-4 years. The reason why I'm taking this position to become a minister in training, because I've also do a lot of work in the community across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. And so I want to bring this into other communities as well. Also, when you cross the border, it's like a license that you can work across the border this way, work with people, because if you don't have something like this, then it is illegal to do your psychic work across the border unless you have a license. Or even in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, they're making it now that you have to have a license, which I think is great, because it helps people understand who's coming from the heart and who's not. So this has been the reason why I'm doing this, because I do care. And my father, actually, my dad says to me, you know, when I was a kid, he said, you know, I wish I could have a minister in the family. And I sat there going, like, yeah, right. My father says, well, if you get rid of that hair, get rid of those cowboy boots, get rid of those earrings, he says people will respect you. Well, Dad, I guess you don't have that wish. Because I had my long hair, I got my earrings, I got my cowboy boots, because this has been me all my life. I've been a cowboy since I was a kid. Raised on the farm, riding horses, and I reason why I have my long hair because it's part of my mom's side of heritage. And I carry that. But also the reason why I have my long hair, because I've already helped 2 ladies heal through cancer. Would you believe that? They touched my hair and they healed through cancer. They got their hair grown back because they said they felt electricity come from it. So if someone says to me from spirit, don't cut your hair, I'm going, okay. When my wife gets a hold of my hair, I'm panicking like she wants to trim it. Don't cut it too short. And she might overall, she trims it, but you begin to think, okay, who's going to cut my hair? So I always watch carefully that people don't always cut my hair. My father never understood that part, why I wanted to let my hair grow long. But for some reason, well, I'll tell you why. Because my hair was so brush cutted when I was a kid. My father used to scalp me all the time. I had bald head since I was like piker growing up until about 10. I said, Dad, I want my hair to grow a little bit longer. Well, I'll give you a ½ inch, that's it. Anybody goes past a ½ inch is a communist. This is back in the 60s. But when around the 70s started happening, and you got a little more freedom of 13, 14, I started letting my hair grow longer. Dad didn't say nothing. Because he was worried what people, the neighbors would think. Well, you follow on with society. So I told Dad, I said, well, you know what? Did someone tell Jesus to cut his hair? You. So I'm letting my hair grow longer. And he never said nothing after that. It's funny. So anyways, to enjoy life, enjoy what you've got. And try not to let someone else influence and tell you what you have to do, but follow your heart what you need to do. If you want to go out there and to paint, if you want to go out there and get a lottery ticket, which by the way, I'm going to remind her. I have a wonderful friend here. She does tea leaf readings. Okay, I'm not sure if you know her. Catherine Ballman. Okay. She does tea leaf readings. She works under the guys with the First Transversus Church as well. Now, Catherine won $367,000 last week. Yay! That's a psychic. She knew her numbers. No, actually, it was a quick pick.
That's wonderful.
Now, you were asking that question. You say, okay, now that you won all that money, what are you going to do with it? And they're saying, we're going to save it. Which is good, because most people are below, right?
Yeah.
So,
We're gonna think about it.
could have a lot of fun with that. So you watch, every neighbor's going to be following you, and you find out that you get all like, can I borrow some money? That's the best. Okay, well, thanks, folks. Appreciate it.
No, I'll tell you that Derrick, he can always come up with something for us, even though he gets a last-minute phone call, right? So that's good. And as far as my passion is to see this church, this chapel, become all that it can be, and to see all of the young people here be here when I get to the other side so I can talk to them. We don't get the younger people trained, Catherine, right? We get to the other side, you know what's going to happen? We don't have anybody to talk to, right? There you go. That's wonderful there. You know, of course, that we are a healing ministry, and we have an area at the back that if you care for hands-on healing from our healing facilitators, they will work with you during the meditation. Otherwise, just relax with the meditation, send the energy out through your body as it heals, coming through, out to the universe, out first to the community, family, community, and then out to the worldwide, and out to the universe. Okay, so just relax. And take your thoughts inward and upward to the spot in the universe where God resides and healing begins. Allow the energy to move through the tips of your toes, moving upwards or around and round the body, and allow it to come up through the top of the head and flow like a gentle summer rain. As you breathe in again, feel the energy bringing alive all the cells in the body that work together with all of the organs. And allow those organs to be like a wonderful symphony concert orchestra that play their instruments independently, but they play with such harmony and such rhythm that they are working for the whole beauty of the piece they are playing. And as you breathe the energy in and revitalize all of the energies in the body, in the cells, in the organs, know that you are doing that to bring healing to the whole. And as the energy comes in again through the tips of the toes, allow it to expand into the mind. Let the mind open and be receptive. Let the mind be positive and be healthy, so that it may touch the dreams, the ideas that God has to make you all that you can be. Allow those dreams, those thoughts, those energies to come through the mind to healthy growth, so that they will grow and produce the dream that God has for you. Breathing in again, allow yourself to come in touch with the Spirit, that part of yourself that is always perfect. And allow the Spirit to communicate to the mind and the body what it needs for this journey that it is having in this physical existence. And body, mind, and spirit. Be like a pebble in a great pond of energy, and allow your energy to move forward and ripple outward, and let it touch each member in the room. And joining together, allowing the energy to draw through everyone to facilitate the healing. Taking a deep breath now, think about outside of this room into the community of your family, the community around you, of your teachers and your leaders, and allow that energy to ripple out and touch all of them so that they too may experience the wonderful healing, the wonderful peace. Allow that energy now to go forward into the world and not only touch the world's leaders, but to touch the animals, the vegetation, the waters, the atmosphere, so that they may be healed. And let us be thankful to the animals and the vegetation and the minerals that give of themselves and serve us so greatly and feed us so well. Allow us now to reach out into the universe, into other parts of the universe that we are not familiar with, or many mansions in God's world that we are not aware of, every room in every mansion. But we send love and we send caring, for God promises us that love and healing is never ending. And all we need to do is ask. And the energy will follow the intention of the thought. And the healing will begin. Now as we circle back to the seat of the soul, take a few moments just to sit quietly before you come back to your everyday workaday world, to enjoy the tranquility and the peace of the healing area of your garden, the inner garden of healing. And know that you may visit here at any time, and God has promised that love and the healing is never ending. So open your hearts, your mind, and your hand. God bless you, and He sends His angels to keep after you. Thank you to all the healing facilitators and the angels from the other side, the energy from God through to help you heal your body. And as you know, where we do send a prayer up for someone, and each time there is another prayer added to it, it multiplies it to the 10th power, to the 10th power, to the infinity. And so the healing chain of prayer does work from church to church, person to person. So every day, our healing facilitators concentrate on the bowl that's at the back. If you have anybody who you'd like to put their name in there for healing, we do every day concentrate on the names that are in that bowl and ask for healing to come through for those people. So we thank you for that. Also, now we're getting to the interesting part again. Do we have any birthdays? I know Derrick has a son that has a birthday coming up. It's hard to believe that he's going to be 26. Derrick doesn't old enough to have 26-year-old son, but he really has. Anybody else have a birthday or anniversary coming up? Okay, well, we'll just sing Derrick's son. So, we're talking to you online there because you're not here. Happy birthday, happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, and may all your dreams come true. You will hold the candles on the trees alone. It's so lovely in your eyes wherever you go. Okay, now we're in for the announcements, and we'd like to just kind of thank all the people that participated last week in the bazaar. Catherine, of course, did a great service to us. All the people donated their time to help raise funds, and I have to tell you that next week is our first year anniversary in this location. We actually came in for the first service on the 3rd of June. It'll be the 1st of June. Celia's going to be playing, so that we'll maybe sing anniversary to ourselves next week. And I have to tell you that we're in good financial shape. When it comes time for us to have the annual general meeting, we would like everybody to attend it, even if you aren't on membership. Do come and attend it, and you will find out just exactly how the money's been spent, where we spent everything, and how we've managed to get it to the point that we're comfortably set. For this year, we'll make the insurance without having to borrow any money from any of the directors or everything. And so it got itself totally back in the black, and we're doing very well. We also have not scheduled the time for this, but we had Rosemary here last week, Rosemary Phillips. Everybody just loves her when she comes, and we did the talking, a little bit of what she calls talking and singing with heaven, and everybody enjoys it so much that we thought we may bring a concert over, and we're going to ask people to buy a ticket and maybe sell 4 if they can. Well, some people will sell 6 and other people can only sell 1. That's fine, but we are hoping to fill the auditorium. We can take 100 people in here comfortably without any problem if the seats are in the rows. They are actually licensed for 144, so it's quite comfortable to do that. And as you know, she sings and comes out into the audience and gives messages to people while she's doing that. So that will be a 2-hour program, and so watch for us to have that. As I said, July will be the general meeting, and I would like everybody out for that. We have next week, if you look on the back of your book, it's going to be Claudette Golden that's going to be on next week. And so people just love Claudette, so do come out and see her next week. She's just an absolute fantastic speaker and a magnificent medium, isn't she, Derrick? She just absolutely bowls people over with her mediumship. So that will be next week. Now we're going to ask for any new people that are here, if they'd like to put up their hand, and we welcome them. And I talked to this young lady as she came in, not new to spiritualism though, because she had said that she had gone to Pat Gunn's church on the island. And Pat, I've known her for a number of years and couldn't get a better minister than her. And I did explain that each spiritualist church is slightly different, and in this church what we actually have is all spiritual pathways lead to the same God. So whether you're Buddhist or Christian, you're Jewish or whatever, we all mingle together here and we all honor each other. And so I hope that you'll come back and enjoy our celebrations on Sunday morning at chapel here. So thank you for coming. So that's wonderful. Now your participation, if you would please. We'd be thankful for any donations that you give. And we will sing the offering song, which is on page 21. So if everybody would stand and join us in the offering. You can come from different churches, but the one thing that's going to be common in Spiritualist church is that you're going to have some mediumship. And Derrick is known as one of our dead mediums, and so I'm going to let him take over, and he's going to bring some messages to the congregation. Thanks, Derrick.
You can clap if you want. I'm just rolling up my sleeves when I get prepared because I get really hot. At times when I'm doing my work, Spirit goes like what happens when I prepare. I have people coming through my body and I have no control over it. So basically, it's almost like they're showing me or making me feel who they are, and they give me that energy. So that's just how it works for me. I've actually been doing this for a long time. So. Now, before I start, actually I do have a radio show. It's called Between Two Worlds. I'm on Tuesday nights. I'm on the internet radio. 8 o'clock. My show is called Between Two Worlds. If you want to find out, I'm under bbsradio.com. You can actually meet me at the table after and ask me for the website. Go there. I do mediumship on the radio, plus also once in a while I do get on I interview other people from across the world. This coming week, I've got a group of guys that I've been working with a couple years back from the Missouri Paranormal Society. These guys are ghost hunters, and I did some work for them a couple years back where when they were being interviewed on APSR radio, the radio show host was asking about one particular situation. The guys are actually in this house. This is Missouri. The guys are in this house. They're investigating the place. And they actually have a photograph, an actual photograph of a spirit in white form, and the negative showed up with it. So basically, it's not just something that they think that people thought was a flare. It wasn't, because actually it was actually developed, and even the negative shows a white form of a person looking out the window of the house. That person's spirit showed themselves at the window. I've got that photograph. They gave it to me to put on my website. If you want to find out, go to Whiteskycloud.com. You'll see, it'll say Spirits, Ghosts, and Things. You can see a list of 7 rooms. You can go in there and see all these photos that people have been sending me, and I've been putting them up on my website. But the particular picture, and there's two of them. One was that particular picture. The other one was a picture that looks like flames going upstairs. And if you look closer, you'll see boots, a pair of pants from the knee down, and a pair of boots as it was walking upstairs into the building. And what this is actually, they were curious who the person was that was in that house at the time. I actually phoned in the show and I told him the guy's name is this, and I gave him his first and last name. I said the house is built in 2 parts, and there's 2 grave sites in the backyard. I explained to them that apparently this took place in the Civil War, where that was the father who was looking out the window waiting for his son and his daughter to come home. And when I told them the story online, or actually on the radio show, they phoned me back and said to me, I can't believe how you even know that, because they did the research and found that the first and last name of that person was who they were. And it took place at that time period. And the guy said the house was built in 2 parts, plus there's actually 2 graveyards in the backyard. So they said, we want you to come up to Missouri with us and do some paranormal investigating. So I said, well, let me know. We'll have a chat about it. So that's what I also do. I'm also a paranormal investigator.
The good thing about that, Derrick, to interrupt you, is that you don't have to be there. You can pick it up.
I can pick it up from here. I don't have to go to that site. No. And because what happens is, if that spirit wants to come forward and tell me themselves, they say, tell these guys this is who I am, and that's exactly what happens. Because some people think, okay, you have to go to a long distance place to be there. You don't have to be. You don't have to be necessary. If that person who's in spirit really wants to get through to you, they're going to come forward and tell you who they are if necessary. That's why sometimes I'll even get names of people. Once in a while I'll get the last name as well. So, okay? You guys ready? Okay, this is how it works. Who's never had a reading from me before? No, don't even
Well,
answer
the new
that.
lady hasn't had a reading from you before, the one in white.
No? Okay. I love the challenge.
Yes. You are a challenge.
That's what Mom said too. Okay. I'm going to head towards your energy, okay? I'm going to head towards your family, so I'm just going to see what I can do for you here. Okay, show me there. Okay. I have someone here who's somehow connected to your family, and the way I'm being shown here, I'm being shown the ocean, I'm also being shown water. I'm also as if the person actually was either in the Navy or was actually a longshoreman, one of the two. As an older man crossed over. Okay, does that make sense? Who is this person?
Could be my uncle.
Okay, is he crossed over?
Yes, he is.
Okay, he's the one coming through here right now. I feel like either he was out of the Navy or a longshoreman, because I feel like there's being on the ship was important.
Maybe.
Understand? Okay. When he's coming through, he wants to acknowledge you, and he says, say hello to your family, and he also wants to acknowledge the boy, the little boy, the child. Who's the child next to you? This, like I'm being shown, who, honey boy. I would say the boy's about 5 or 6 years old.
Could that be at the time he passed over? Could
Yeah.
be my son.
Yeah. How old is your son?
Now he's 20.
Now he's 20. How old was he when he passed?
Oh, my son hasn't passed.
No, that boy.
How old was he when he passed?
Yes.
He's not passed. Oh, my uncle had passed when my son was young.
Okay. The boy was small? How old was his son when he passed?
Can't remember what year he passed. 10
Okay.
years ago.
When he crossed over, he's your son's guardian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He watches over him. Understand? This is what he does. He watches over him. Because he shows me the boy, he's by his side. Because I'm by his side. So he's talking about your son then. Okay? Now, there's something else you can talk about your mom. Is your mom crossed over? Okay, because your mom's coming up in here as well. I'm also being shown, okay, I'm not sure if mom and dad split, but I'm being shown here there's a split between these two. Like mom went her way, but dad went the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is what they're trying to show me. Oh, wow, okay. This is cool, that guy's making me look up. Okay. I've got 3 people in spirit right now I have here, and there's a male in the center looking down to you right here in the center. It's either dad's crossover, I'm not sure, but I'm getting an older man here on this side. I get 2 people, there's 2 women to the right and the left. Okay, that means there's one woman to the right hand, that means there's two grandmothers crossed over. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? I love it when they start showing themselves more. You got a room full of people with you right now. I'm not kidding you. I'm going to count the guys. Show me how many guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They said 9 in spirit with you. And 9, and that's it. They disappeared. They just told me they said 9. Okay. There's one more thing I was supposed to tell you here. Who is that? Okay. And they're showing you lumber. That means that you're either talking about renovating your house or changing or moving, one of the two, because they're talking about changing the house. And they're really, I'm telling you, they are. You're going to end up doing some major quick changes. Like something, when they show you lumber, that means it's going to be a renovation, something's going to leak really fast. That means you're going to have a situation with a place, with your place itself at home. Okay, that means there's an object of building something.
Supposed to start roofing. I live in a housing cooperative though, so.
Was it leaky?
Not my unit, but the roofs are all being done. We've just totally done building envelope restoration.
Okay, that's probably what this whole thing's about. But is your roof taken care of yet on your side?
No, the roofs are housekeeping.
Okay, because there was going to be a leak in your house. There was going to be a major leak. Because they showed me the lumber, there was going to be a leak, so they're actually saying they're glad it's being done right now. Okay? Thank you. Okay, now, we're going to have fun. I'm going to come to you. Yeah. Okay. I've gone, I'm not sure if you said this to me at all, but I'm actually showing you here a man in the military. Older man crossed over. I want to say 2 men in the military. Either your dad and your grandfather, but I'm going to show 2 men here.
Yes.
Understand?
Yes.
They were telling me to acknowledge you and to say hi to you, to hello to you as well. They're also showing me one of the men is holding the dog in his arms. So either you just not to other recently lost a puppy or a dog, because the puppy is small. It's not that large. Understand? He's holding the dog like this in his arm. So I'm not sure if you have this dog being yours, but he says the puppy is with him. Okay, now I'm not sure if the puppy's name is Peppy, but it has a P-E-P-P-Y. What's that mean? Like either he was a fast-moving dog or he had the name Peppy or Pepper, P-E-P-P-Y or P-P-E-R.
I would have to check on that.
Yeah, because I feel like the name is Pepper or Peppy.
Yes.
That feeling, as we're saying the name. He says this dog, I don't know what the dogs are going to do with this whole thing. I was so military, I was like, I got a dog in my arm. This is what he's showing me now. There's a reason for this. Sometimes what you have a him I'm doing is actually using dog as a symbol, but I really strongly feel this is actually a long-haired pup, like a long-haired, like a cross terrier, that sort of thing. Like I said, I would say about maybe 10 pounds, maybe 12, 1 stone, I guess you call it. Okay. I'm learning my English techniques.
I have to look into it because I have a commercial kennel.
Okay. Oh, you have a commercial kennel?
Many dogs, yes.
Oh, I never knew.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. There's a reason for this. There's a reason for this dog. The dog's name is Pepper. Possibly says Pepper.
Right.
Okay. So just check it out.
Yeah.
Your mom wants to cross over because I'm hearing the word your mom.
Yes.
Your mom's here. She says to me, Mom, so it means she's with you right now. And she shows me on this side of the arm, like on my side here, she's by your side now because I'm getting very warm here on this side. And she tells me she's with you all the time. All the time. In fact, you dream with her because she comes and visits you more. In fact, she said she saw you 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, she said. She visited you 2 nights ago. Okay? And she says the song to me. It's called Dream a Little Dream with Me. I don't know what that means, but I'm supposed to say that word, Dream a Little Dream with Me. And that's your mom's song to you. Now, I'm also getting here, she says to me, your mom and dad are dancing, like as if they're jiving. Understand? They're back into dancing again. So your mom and dad are doing their thing. Okay? And they're having lots of fun, so they're really having a great time on this side. And she said, don't expect to live short. She says you have a long life to go.
Right.
And she's talking about, you're looking like in your late 90s.
Right.
So, I don't know why I'm supposed to say this, but you're supposed to be here for quite a while.
Yeah.
She's also shows me, and I have to inspire you by book, like writing a book, but she says the book.
Right.
Okay, so if you haven't brought it up, I'm not talking about the analysis of the earthquake marks.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about a book, something that you have to write.
That's right.
Okay.
I'll get ready to do.
Okay, get it started because she's bringing it up now. There's a reason for this because there's going to be... now, she says the word cosmic. That means something to do with the inner plane. Not extraterrestrial. Inner plane, like interdimensional kind of work. So whatever it is you're doing. She's also mentioned, she said remote viewing. So as if you're actually taking them out of your body and you're actually visiting other parts of the world while you're trying, or I guess it's saying trans-channeling. Okay, so basically you're out of your body and visiting other world, or within the world itself as you travel across the world. So she's...
Project myself.
Yes, that's what you're basically doing. So you're actually traveling a lot. And they're also telling me here that you'll be involved with the church more often. Church more often, she says. Continue. Church more often.
Yes.
As if you put it to a rest for a bit. Now you're going full course again. You're back like you're... I'm not sure if you were actually resting from the church for a while, like you weren't going for a while, but she says that now you're back on your feet and now you're doing it. So wherever you're going, it's like you're going to be busier. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay? Good. You're welcome. Thank you. Now, one more. I'm going to come to you, sir. Okay? Okay. I have a male here. He says dad. Is your father crossed over? Okay. This is your grandfather and your dad's side. Okay, your grandfather's past your father's side, right? Okay, he's concerned about your father. Understand? So either your dad's health is not doing well, but he wants to acknowledge that for some reason. You need to pay attention. Now, is your father in another country?
Yes.
Where is he?
In Africa.
Okay. How often do you talk to your dad?
Once a month.
Okay. Ask him how his health is doing because you're not asking him often enough. Your dad's not admitting these things. Okay, there's a reason for this, and that needs to be taken care of. You need to ask Dad about a lot of things you don't know yet. Okay, I've never met you before. This is the first time we've met, but for some reason, like I said before, it's something like your father's out of another country. That's why I get this feeling. It wouldn't hurt to get him up here to visit. Okay, because there's a reason for this. I need to share that with you. To put in as much information, ask much information about Dad and what he did when he was a boy growing up. Learn some stuff for your father that you need to get over that. Understand? Because there's some things here that I'm seeing between you and your dad that you didn't see eye to eye that you have never finished. Okay? There needs to be a father-son love relationship that's not been spent enough time with. Does that make sense? Okay. Because this grandfather is apologizing to me. He's telling me this, he's actually saying that he's apologizing to your father, but he's also apologizing to you that he wished he made things better than they were. Understand? There's a reason for this. Now, somebody's talking about a war. That means either your grandfather was in the military or there was a war amongst somebody in the family. What was that about?
Not sure.
Okay, check out with Dad. Because somebody feels like there's a military connection. Because somebody shows a badge on his chest. Okay, he's bringing up that badge. I'm important. Okay, this guy has a hat, flat hat on his head. got this crop in his hand, he's like this. So there's a military soldier in the family.
I was in the military.
You're in the military?
Yes.
When was that?
In 86, 87.
Okay, because he's acknowledging, then he must be acknowledging you with the soldier. Were you like, what was your position?
I was in military medical services.
Did you wear a crop in your arm?
No.
Not like this? No, okay, but like that. He's acknowledging you, your grandfather. He's proud of you, by the way. Okay? Trust me, this is going to be a lot of fun. Enjoy this. But he says he wants this to be shown. So if you're not showing enough, letting people know that you were in the military, you need to hang your badges on the wall or start, get involved in, get involved whenever they talk about anybody who was in the military, if there's any programs involved in the military, be part of it, participate in it, because they need to know and share your stories with your kids. Let them know what you've done, be proud of what you've done. Okay, there's a reason for this. Okay? And I'm not sure it makes sense, but I'm also being shown another baby in your arms. So either you're talking about having other children, but I'm seeing one more in your arms. Does that make sense? It takes two to tango. You have kids?
I do.
Yeah, how old are they?
19 and 14.
Okay, I'm seeing a grandchild, I'm seeing a child in your arms, So either you're having a baby or one of your children may have a baby within a year from now. Okay? Be prepared to hear this. I've made predictions. Okay? I'm not off. I wish I was. But you can warn the kids ahead of time. You can say that, be careful. We need to be safe out there. Right? If you make a prediction to have it not to happen yet, let them know. Because in about a year from now, I see it happen. Okay?
Possibly.
Trust me, within a year from now, I'll see it happen. So just let it work. But if you don't want it to happen, intervene. You can intervene and change it. Okay? That's what you can do. You're allowed to do that. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Well, it's great that Derrick could just step in like that and give us a really good program for a Sunday morning. So thanks, Derrick. That's wonderful. And thanks to all of you, to our music ministers that are sitting here. And of course, when Jean sings, it gives us a good key to work with. So when she's not playing piano, she sings, she keeps me on key, or at least tries to. So I'd like to thank, of course, all of the volunteers and all of you for coming out. Do come again next week, and as I said, we will have a little bit of a celebration next week because of it being our anniversary. So try to come and support us for that. And we are going to do our final song, which will be Let There Be Peace, or Let There Be Love. Actually, we sing it. And we will join hands in here after I do the closing prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to get together today. It is so wonderful that Spirit moves in close and gives us the comfort and the information that helps us guide our lives, and that we may go forward and take that love that comes through us and give it to each person that we meet in the following week. Until we meet next week, God bless. Amen.
Okay. And it's number 8. And stay with on key conversation.
We have a lot of calorie foods up there. Calorie free.